driving away now. Away from the factory. My feet are wet. Hands are sweaty. I'll try to forget what I saw there, but I won't be able to, will I, Alice? I'll never forget what happened at the factory by the sea. The sea is crystalline. It's seductive. But the land feels angry and lost. There's no harmony here. The tranquility of the lapping waves sputters out and the land slumps into place. Buggy as hell too. Oh, God damn it! Ugh! Sorry. A huge bug just died a messy death right on my windshield, so... whatever. Delivery today was to a factory. Didn't recognise the name of the company, but the factory was vast. It was right on a beach. A huge block rectangle of metal pipes and tanks and 3 towering stacks. Black smoke out all over the water. One side of the building went up high into the tie line. Water was just lapping up against the concrete foundation. Gentle white slope of the sand either side. It's weird, right? Why would anyone build a factory like that? Why would they be allowed to with the environmental hazards alone? Is this the world you left me? Leaderless and spinning? Sorry, off topic. Factory. Didn't see any other way of loading the dock, so I just drove right onto the sand and backed it up. There was a young man there. Very young. I mean, 18 at most, probably less. Probably less. Kid was wearing this grey factory jumpsuit with the company's logo on it in red. Logo was a dog cringing in pain. Praxis Industries. Is this the world that you've left me, Alice? Farther south you go on the coast, the worse the drivers get. They're old and they're mad down here. Why are they so mad? Why are they in my lane? Why are you in my... Chip, sorry. Sorry, Alice. I know. I know you hated it when I yelled. I hate it. You hate it when I yell. Hi, the kid on the loading dock said. My name's Jackie. You got my delivery? Sure, I said, right in the back. Wasn't much. Don't know why they needed a truck of my size to deliver it. Stray bits of wood, each individually labelled with a number and a letter. I couldn't tell much from the shape of them. Cool, the kid said. This is perfect. Hey, help me with this, would you? Together we took them off the truck, put them piece by piece on a conveyor belt, which carried them through the chute into the factory. Black smoke all over the water, churning machines. I didn't see a single human being on the scaffolding. No one having a cigarette out on the loading dock, no face in any of the grease smears windows, no workers in sight. No parking lot either, just the beach. Come on in. I have to sign off on the delivery inside, said the kid. He disappeared through a propped open fire exit, and I followed right after. But he was already gone. Huh. There's a black van parked by the side of the road. Man outside of it sitting in a lawn chair. He's got coolers next to him. Sign saying 50 cents clams, $2 a crab? Tempting. But I'm not going to stop. Ooh, the popcorn store. That's even more tempting. An entire store of popcorn. Not going to stop for that either. Suburbs never bend here. Firework outlets that sell only uniforms of various kinds. Churches, like the ones they build when they have no history. Strip mall triangles. Same architecture as a Taco Bell. Easily convertible into a Ross dress for less if the church doesn't work out. I shouldn't judge. No one should. We all do a lot of things that we shouldn't, though. Inside the factory, the air didn't feel like air. Some artificial replication. It felt hot and tight in my lungs. The hallway was the wrong shade of green. If you know what I mean. You know when the green that isn't right, that it's sort of off from what it should be? It was that green. Bare bulbs, doors leading off from the hallway, all locked. I walked down the long, long hall. No sign of Jackie. Ended at a glass door. I pushed through and I was in some sort of manager's office. Cheap binders, red and blue, overstuffed with paper. An IKEA desk with a computer that was still running Windows XP. And there was a man there, in the same grey jumpsuit. On the wall was the logo of the company. There was somebody drowning, gasping for air. And it said, Praxis Industries. Hello? I said to the man in the jumpsuit. Oh, sure, sorry. Just have to get the paperwork settled. It was Jackie. He was older. I don't know how much, but at least in his early 30s. His hair had already started to grey a little bit. He didn't have wrinkles exactly, but he had the places in his face where the wrinkles would be. I didn't know what to do. I pinched and every time it hurt. So I did the only thing I could do. I picked up the uncapped big pen on his desk and I signed the forms where he was pointing. Sure, thanks, he said. Listen, I hate to be a bother, but could you give me a quick hand with the unpacking in the next room? No problem if not, but it's a bit of a pain on my own. I couldn't say anything to him. Just nodded. It was all I could do. Great then, he said, and he bustled off through the double doors. I've been thinking lately about pizza nights. Dough from scratch, sauce from scratch, cheese from the store. I'm not going that far. I loved the making of the bread, the dough for the crust, the flour and the water in your hands, first separate then merging into a silky whole. The yeast and the gluten, making it a living thing. It moves when you poke it. It breathes in your hands. Our hands covered in flour. We open up a bottle of wine and we eat the pizza that we made, and we just watch whatever's on TV. Fall asleep in a wine and bread coma. I think love is cooking together. I think it's making something with each other. That's what I think, Alice. I don't know what you think. Turns out I didn't know what you were thinking at all. I had some idea what would happen. I pushed through the doors. No sign of him, of course. It was the factory floor. A great arc of a roof with skylights over towering machines, automatic processes I didn't really understand, and no workers at all. Metal hands building metal things. No human beings in sight. I wandered down the concrete aisles and the sound of the machines pounding in my teeth and eyelids. Machine after machine, Alice. Imagine the scale of them. Picture it for me. And then Jackie again. He was older. His 50s or early 60s. Problems with his wrinkles made good. I felt dizzy and sick. The thrum of the machines became a hum in my gut. I tasted hot metal. Great, he said. You made it. He was piecing the wood sections together, fitting them into some sort of structure. I still couldn't tell what it was. Jackie? I said. What's going on here? Jackie? No one's called me Jackie in a long, long time. Jack. I prefer Jack. Leave the younger man's name to the younger man. The howl of the machines echoed back from the empty scaffolding and the walkways, and onto Jack, older and stooped. He gestured at what he needed, and I helped him infer some of the wood bits into other wood bits, following his instruction and not my own understanding. I didn't say anything more. And once we'd done whatever we had done, it didn't look like much. A cube, but missing some of the bits, maybe. He pressed a button, and the whole thing rolled onto a conveyor belt through the tunnel of the machines and out the factory. Jack then gave me a thin, sad smile. Only one more stop now, he said. Come on then. He stooped his way out of the building, and I followed him. Of course I did. Crossing inland now. Grassland, canals. There's supposed to be alligators here, right? That's the whole thing with this area. Gators or whatever. I haven't seen any alligators. I saw a cow drinking from a stream. Not the first part of a scene from National Geographic. Second part didn't happen. No gator leaping from the waters with his jaw open. Cow just drank. What's a cow doing in a swamp? Are they wild cows? They're alright. Outside the door, a narrow concrete ledge over the water. Blue water, white sand, the light slapping of the ocean against the factory, wearing away one gentle touch at a time. Jack was there. Already, he was so old. His hair was pure white, and his eyes were clouded. He was easily 70, probably 80, maybe more. Well, this is it then, he said. Help me with these last few pieces. And I helped him with those last few pieces. As they locked into place, I understood. And when he gestured, I didn't ask questions. I helped him carry the coffin that we had built to the edge of the factory and dropped it into the water. And when he reached for my hand, I didn't hesitate. I eased him into the coffin as it floated, and he nodded. He didn't seem scared. My hands shook, but his were steady. Just push me out then, he said. The coffin bobbed in the water, laid his head back and put his eyes up to the sky. On the inside of the coffin's lid was the company's logo in red. The logo was of two people lowering a coffin into the sea. Praxis Industries, it said. God help me, I pushed. The coffin took off into the tide, and with each wave it was a little farther out. Jack's hands, so small, so frail, reached up and pulled the lid closed. I stood there, watching as it went out. Further, and further, and then it was gone. The factory kept on churning. Machines making machines. There was no one inside. It smelled like the sea. It smelled like smoke and steel. It smelled like algae and murk. And once he was gone, and once I felt myself starting to breathe again, I stepped off the edge, waist deep into the water, and I walked through it around the factory, and onto the sand. White as bone, white as heat. And I got into my truck, wet as I was, dripping onto the torn plastic seat, dripping on the books stacked on the floor, curling the pages, hands on the key, engines back on, driving away. Away from the sand, away from the factory, out back onto the road, away from the factory. And that's where I am now. Driving, as I always am when we talk. We. Of course we don't talk. I do. You vanish. You're a gap, a nothing. And I talk into that nothing. I let my words float away like Jackie on the waves, like Jack on the waves. I let my words vanish. I just keep driving. Flour on our hands, sauce on our hands on our hands. Something forgettable on the television, leg upon leg. That was a life, Alice. That's what it's made of. Hand upon leg, upon heart, upon couch, upon a day when you made bread together. Now a coffin floating away on the water, as blue as anything under a sky, as blue as anything away from the factory. Away from the factory by the sea. Fuck it, right? There's a Denny's in 2 miles anyway, there's that. Alice, honey, there's always that.